Let's be honest. We all want to be respected. Whether it's at work, in friendships, or even online, respect is that invisible currency that defines how people treat you. But here's the thing. Most people don't lose respect for you overnight. It's rarely because of one major mistake. More often, it happens quietly, through small, repeated behaviors that chip away at the trust and admiration others once had. You may not even notice it happening, until suddenly people start keeping their distance. They stop confiding in you. Your presence no longer carries the same weight. So today, we're diving deep into 4 subtle habits that make people lose respect. Not because you're a bad person, but because you might be unaware of the messages your actions send. And as always, we'll weave in a few lessons from Stoic philosophy. Wisdom that's thousands of years old, yet timeless in helping us build dignity, composure, and strength of character. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's talk about how we sometimes sabotage our own respect and what to do instead. Habit number 1. Talking more than you listen. We live in a world that glorifies loud voices. Everyone wants to be heard, to be seen, to have a take on everything. But here's the paradox. The more you dominate conversations, the less people respect what you have to say. Years ago, I used to think being outspoken made me confident. I was that person who always had a story, an opinion, or a witty comment ready to go. In my mind, I was being engaging. But in reality, I was doing most of the talking and very little listening. Then one day, during a group discussion, a colleague quietly said, "You know, it's hard to talk around you sometimes. You don't really give space for others." It hit me harder than I expected. That was the moment I realized that dominance isn't the same as presence. People don't respect the one who talks the most. They respect the one who listens with attention. The Stoic philosopher Zeno said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we may listen twice as much as we speak." It's a simple truth, but one we often forget. Listening, truly listening, shows humility. It says, "I value what you think." When people feel heard, they naturally respect you more. So next time you're in a conversation, pause. Let silence do the talking. You'll be surprised at how powerful quiet confidence can be. Habit number 2. Constantly making excuses. There's a quote I love that says, "You can make excuses or you can make progress, but you can't make both." For years, I lived behind excuses. I blamed circumstances, people, and timing for everything that went wrong in my life. If I missed a deadline, it was because someone distracted me. If I failed at something, it was because I didn't have enough support. It made me feel safe, protected from failure. But in reality, it made me powerless. Excuses are comforting because they let us avoid accountability. But the Stoics saw this clearly. They believed that you can't control the world, but you can always control your response to it. One day, my mentor pulled me aside after a project that went off track. He didn't raise his voice. He just said, "Every time you give me a reason why something didn't work, you're telling me you weren't in control. I need someone who owns their outcome, not someone who explains it away." That conversation changed everything. From then on, I made a rule. No excuses, only responsibility. Even when something wasn't entirely my fault, I asked, what could I have done differently? And something strange happened. People began to trust me more. Because responsibility commands respect. When you own your mistakes, people know your word means something. Excuses protect your ego for a moment, but accountability protects your reputation for a lifetime. Habit number 3. Being emotionally unstable. Have you ever been around someone who's unpredictable? One day they're kind and easygoing, the next they're defensive or distant. You never quite know what version of them you're going to get. That kind of emotional volatility quietly pushes people away. It makes others walk on eggshells around you. And once people have to manage your emotions for you, they lose respect for you. I used to think showing emotion was a sign of authenticity, and it can be. But when your emotions run your actions, not your principles, that's when respect starts to erode. I remember a moment vividly. I had a disagreement with a coworker, and instead of addressing it calmly, I snapped. It wasn't even about what she said. It was about how I felt at that moment. My reaction turned a small issue into a public embarrassment. Later that day, I saw the look on her face. Part disappointment, part confusion. That's when I realized that losing control doesn't just damage how others see you, it damages how you see yourself. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote, "He who angers you conquers you." Emotional self-control isn't about suppressing how you feel. It's about choosing not to let those feelings dictate your behavior. When you remain calm under pressure, when you can disagree without exploding, you earn a level of quiet respect that can't be faked. Because composure isn't weakness, it's strength in disguise. Habit number 4. Over-promising and under-delivering. This one stings because it comes from a place of good intentions. We want to help. We want to impress. We want to be seen as capable. So we say yes to everything. But every yes becomes a small promise. And when you fail to follow through, even just once, people remember. I used to overpromise all the time. I'd tell friends I'd show up and then cancel last minute. I'd take on too much at work and then rush through it half-heartedly. It didn't seem like a big deal at first, until I noticed people stopped counting on me. They stopped asking for help. They stopped trusting my word. That's when I learned something simple but powerful. Reliability is silent respect. You don't have to be the most talented, the smartest, or the most confident, just the one who does what they say they'll do. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be." B1 reliability is exactly that, not talking about it, but living it. So from then on, I started saying no more often. Not out of laziness, but out of honesty. I'd rather do a few things well than promise everything and deliver halfway. Because every time you keep your word, even in the small things, people take note. And over time, that's what builds your reputation. Quiet, consistent integrity. Final thoughts. Respect isn't something you demand. It's something you cultivate. You earn it by how you handle yourself when no one's watching. When you choose to listen more than you speak, take responsibility instead of making excuses, control your emotions instead of reacting impulsively, and deliver on your promises. People see that. The Stoics believed that character is destiny. Every habit you practice shapes who you become and how the world perceives you. So, if you've noticed respect slipping away, don't panic. It's not too late. Start small. Start today. Because the moment you decide to live with intention, honesty, and consistency, that's the moment people start respecting you again. And more importantly, you start respecting yourself.